Hello everyone and welcome to Grandstand Sports Data. In this video, we're going to be ranking the top 5 quarterback prospects for the 2025 NFL Draft. We will be analyzing at both the fundamental and statistical level for these players and then predicting their future with our quarterback model. So enough of the introductions, let's get right into it. Coming in at 5 is going to be Jalen Milroe. And look, Jalen Milroe is one of the most electric athletes at the quarterback position we've seen come out in years. His speed and burst are game changing, and he's got a cannon for an arm. He's a strong, tough kid with real leadership qualities and a track record of making big plays in big moments. That's not nothing. But the flip side is real. His accuracy just isn't there yet, especially in the short game. He struggles to read defenses and looks lost post snap at times. His pocket presence is shaky, and decision making breaks down under pressure. That red zone passing stat, that's a red flag. He's a project, high ceiling, but low floor. You're betting on development in a scheme fit here. Milroe's projected NFL career looks solid. Not spectacular, but serviceable. A 63.8% completion rate with a 90.7 passer rating tells me he'll flash, but he won't carry a franchise as a pure passer. The 17% bad throw rate and 74.6% on target rate confirm that what we saw on tape. Inconsistent with mechanics and placement. He's efficient enough to win games, but not precise enough to win big ones consistently. The Derek Carr comp is fair. Both are talented but have clear ceilings. Carr's had a solid career, but he's never truly scared defenses unless everything around him was clicking. Milroe might carve out a similar path, especially if a coaching staff builds around his legs and deep ball. He's not a plug and play type of a guy, but there's starter potential with patience and the right scheme. So this slide sums Milroe up perfectly. He's physically gifted, but raw. His -5 grade in accuracy is a major concern, especially when timing and rhythm are so critical in the league. Velocity and mobility are elite, no doubt, but poor vision, pocket feel, and decision making, that's a recipe for a bumpy rookie contract unless he's developed the right way. The Tyrod Taylor comp is spot on. Both are dynamic runners with enough arm to threaten defenses, but need structure and support to succeed. A second or third round flyer makes sense if a team believes in their quarterback room and staff to develop him. High end backup or borderline starter feels right today. Anthony Richardson's name at the bottom, that means that Milroe's got flashes of that upside, but he's not the same physical freak or as naturally gifted in terms of processing. Coming in at number 4 on our board is Jackson Dart. And Jackson Dart profile checks out a lot of boxes physically. He's mobile, tough, and can sling it with enough zip to make all the throws. His accuracy and vision flash on tape, especially when he's in rhythm. The leadership trait stands out too, which you love to see from a guy running an SEC offense. But here's the catch. He's not polished yet. His mechanics can get loose, and his decision making under pressure, still a work in progress. He's got tools, no doubt, but you're drafting projection, not plug and play. He needs the right coaching and time before he's ready to take over an NFL huddle. So Dart's projected NFL stat line tells you a lot. He'll likely be a steady, serviceable starter, not a superstar. His projected completion rate is solid, and the interception rate is actually respectable, which shows growth. But the bad throw rate is kind of high, and his on target percentage is only decent. This is a guy who's going to need scheme help. The win rate projection says he's a guy you can win with, but probably not because of. The Matt Hasselback comp is fair. They're smart, competitive, tough, might not wow you, but they can hold down the fort if developed correctly. So you're looking at a quarterback with an A level mobility and B traits in accuracy, vision, and toughness. But the issues are real. Dart grades out as a borderline starter because of poor mechanics, decision making, and pro readiness. He can flash, no doubt about it, but inconsistency is still the concern. He's got some Taylor Heineke in his game. Gutsy, scrappy, can make plays with his legs, but you're going to live and die by his decision making. A late first or early second round flyer if you got time to develop him and a scheme to support him. If not, he's Gardner Minshew with more juice, but fewer answers. Now coming in at number 3 is going to be Quinn Ewers. Ewers checks a lot of boxes you want in a potential franchise guy. He's battle tested, accurate in rhythm, and his football IQ shows up when he's calm in the pocket. Leadership and decision making upside are there, but he's not the guy who's going to create off script magic. Where you get worried is the inconsistent pocket presence. He feels ghost, panics under pressure, and his ball loses juice beyond 15 to 20 yards. Velocity is just not NFL caliber right now. He's ready to operate a clean offense, but if you don't protect him or scheme around his physical limits, he won't last long. Now, statistically, you're looking at a guy who projects to be a solid game manager at the next level. Think mid-tier starter. Completion percentage, touchdown rate, and win-loss record all line up with quarterbacks who win with structure, but not splash. His stat comp to Mark Bulger makes a lot of sense. High IQ, sharp when clean, but limited outside the script or when the pocket breaks down. He can carve you up on early downs with timing and anticipation. But if you're expecting Mahomes or Josh Allen level play extension, you're drafting the wrong guy. Build around him right, and he'll give you a shot every single week. Okay, so this board tells the full story. Ewers has leadership traits and flashes high end football IQ, but physically, he's limited. Velocity and toughness in the pocket aren't where you want them for a long term starter. The total grade lands him in the mid pack guys like Jake Delhomme or Baker Mayfield makes a lot of sense. He'll hang around the league, may win some games if the situation is right, but he's not dragging a team to the playoffs by himself. If he hits, he's a high end backup or borderline starter you can win with, but not because of. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Shador Sanders. What you're seeing here is a guy with a high football IQ, accuracy, and composure, all traits that scream franchise quarterback material if developed right. Shador's mechanics, vision, and ability to read a defense are ahead of the curve for a college prospect. He's got leadership and the mental wiring you want. But the blue flags, pocket presence, and decision making are real concerns, especially at the next level where windows close fast. He doesn't have elite juice on his throws and isn't going to win with physical traits. The foundation is strong, but he'll need to speed things up mentally and stop drifting in the pocket to succeed long term. Statistically, this model paints Shador as a solid but not spectacular pro. You're getting a guy who completes passes at a decent clip, protects the football, and works well in rhythm, but you're not seeing explosive touchdown rates or deep efficiency. The sack numbers and low win percentage hint as struggles under pressure and lack of elite tools. The Teddy Bridgewater comp fits. He's a smart, accurate, conservative passer who can start in this league if kept clean. He won't carry a franchise, but he can stabilize it with the right scheme and talent around him. So this board lays it out well. Shador checks a lot of the mental boxes with A-level accuracy, vision, leadership, and football IQ. Those are quarterback building blocks. But you also see the physical limitations. Arm strength and build both grade out poorly. The pocket presence and decision making are average at best right now. And that's where the coaching comes in. The Alex Smith comp is strong. You're getting a timing based passer who can win with smarts, but won't create off script magic. First round traits upstairs, but he's gonna need a patient situation in a quarterback friendly system to thrive. Coming in at number 1 is going to be Cam Ward. And Cam Ward's got the raw tools to work with. No doubt about it. His velocity pops and he can zip it into tight windows from any platform. He sees the field well and processes defenses at a solid clip, which makes him dangerous when things break down. Accuracy flashes when he's in rhythm, and he's got that gamer DNA. You can win games with him, no question about it. But the big red flag is decision making, especially when he's pressured or gets greedy. He plays a little too much hero ball at times. If you clean that up and give him a system that plays to his strengths, you might just end up with a franchise quarterback. Okay, so Cam Ward's projected statistical profile tells the story of a high ceiling, mid floor guy. A 65.6% completion rate with a low interception rate shows he's not careless, but that 4.6% touchdown rate is underwhelming for a guy with that arm. His bad throw rate is high at 16.6%, and that lines up with the tape. He'll sail a few and play some hero ball at times. The win rate, just over 57%, shows he can win, but he hasn't carried teams consistently. The Chad Pennington comp makes sense. They're efficient, accurate when settled, not a gunslinger by trade. He's got the tools, but development will be a key. Not a day one franchise savior, but you could win with him if you build it right. This is a high upside guy with some real NFL traits, but he's not a clean projection. You look at fundamentals and you see a quarterback with B level traits in velocity, vision, and football IQ, all things that translate if developed right. But the red flags glaring like decision making at a D grade, that's going to get him in trouble early against NFL speed and disguised coverage. Mechanics are just okay, and he's not dominant physically, which limits his margin for error. The Jared Goff comp checks out. If he's protected and in rhythm, he can win you games. Also, the Jordan Love comp is fair. A little bit of wait and see. With the right coach and time, he could be a top 12 starter. But if you throw him into the fire too soon, you risk the wheels coming off. All right, so let's break this slide down. Because what you're seeing here is a visual summary of years of quarterback scouting we've done at Grandstand Sports Data. These aren't based on NFL stats. Every score in this slide is based strictly on how these quarterbacks were graded coming out of college. This is all built on our internal scouting system, the same grading criteria we walked through earlier in this video. That means whether a guy entered the league last year or even 5 years ago, this number reflects how fundamentally sound they were as a prospect. We're talking mechanics, pocket feel, IQ, etc., and etc. The traits we value most when trying to predict long-term success. Now, the number next to each quarterback's name is their total fundamental score. Higher numbers represent more refined, pro-ready traits at the time of scouting. And then you've got that color-coded box to the right, which tells another story. That's based on our Finding Your Franchise Quarterback framework. In that video, we laid out what it really means to be, and I use this in quotes, good enough to win with. Our standard is simple. If your team reaches the divisional round and you finish in the top 8, you're likely doing it with a quarterback capable of leading a deep playoff run. If a quarterback has already accomplished that, they get a green box. If they haven't, they get a red one. If the jury's still out, we mark it with a yellow. So we'll leave a link in the description down below for that video so you can get all caught up. Now, this chart really comes to life when you see how the scouting scores, right? It's not on hype, it's not on draft position, just tends to line up with who actually delivers in the postseason. It's not perfect, but when you zoom out, the correlation is hard to ignore. Now, let's talk about this year's class, the guys in the yellow boxes. These are the quarterbacks entering the 2025 NFL draft that we've already run through the exact same grading system. And right away, what should stand out is how the group grades lower overall than some of the previous classes. So Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders come in with scores of 17 and 15 respectively, and those are your highest graded quarterbacks in this class. That puts them in a similar tier to guys like Kenny Pickett and J.J. McCarthy from previous years. Quinn Ewers comes in at just 7, which may surprise some. Jackson Dart scored at a 2. And then there's Jalen Milroe who landed with a 0 in our grading. That doesn't mean these guys can't make plays. It just means that when we assess them purely as quarterbacks, they didn't check all the boxes. So, unlike last year or years previous where we had guys like Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud pushing into the high 20s or 30s, this year's class doesn't have a single quarterback we grade as fundamentally elite. That doesn't mean someone won't emerge, but historically, this kind of profile tells us that any early round investment in this class come with more risk than reward. So what's important here is the consistency in our process. We're not grading plays based on public narratives. We use the same detailed criteria for everyone, whether it's Joe Burrow in 2020 or Cam Ward today. And what we found in that these fundamental grades were more often than not predict who gets to play football in January. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud, all highly graded, all green box guys. It's not magic, it's data. Guys like Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, they had average to low grades, and to this point, they've struggled to cross that win with threshold. The bottom line here, this chart is a roadmap. It's our way of helping you cut through the noise when you're evaluating quarterbacks, whether you're a fan, a bettor, or just love the game as much as we do. When you're trying to predict who's going to elevate a franchise or who's going to flame out, you should start here. Use the tape, use the data, and lean into systems like this. They won't make every call right, but they give you a hell of an edge compared to the following draft type. Okay, so that's it for our top 5 quarterback prospects to watch out for in the 2025 NFL Draft. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, Grandstand Sports Data, for more NFL coverage and analysis. If you like this video, give it a like and share it with your friends. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, we'll see you in the next one.